Another sermon for today than the one I am going to give you now. But yesterday morning, when I got up for my bed rather early, I felt this, what I'm going to say now, might be more urgent and might clear the air somewhat in an area where a lot of confusion seems to exist. I am talking about the recently discovered sexual misbehavior of some priests and how it seems to backfire on the church and the appreciation of priesthood in general. Let me begin by saying something that may sound rather odd, but I say it without any wish to do something strange, just to clear up the air. I, dear friends, am a perfectly normal man. Not a pedophile, nor homosexual, but in all respects, as far as I can see, sexually speaking, not. If I chose to remain unmarried, it was for the sake of Christ. I scrupulously observe the virtue of chastity, and I look at the sexual misbehavior of the priests concerned with horror and an almost total lack of understanding. When you do not want to believe me, then I say to you that this is your problem, not mine. I know that I'm speaking the truth. Point number 2. I believe that most of the priests whom I know or have known in the past are totally normal as well. And that for this reason it is silly to begin to look at the priest as a whole, or at the church as a whole, with a suspicious eye, as though all of us are affected with terrible sexual abnormalities. Now, I do not think for a moment that all priests are saints. To think that, as some people do, is to live in cloud cuckoo land. But I do believe that most of the priests are serious, hard-working, and happy chaps who genuinely try to make the best of their religious vocation. And so it is very unwise, to put it mildly, to blame all priests for what is done only by a small minority. After all, we do not blame also all married people, do we? Or all parents, or all lay people, for the fact that some of them make a mess of their lives. Point number 3, and this is perhaps the most important of all, what did Jesus himself do when he had to deal with a serious sinner? One thing that always strikes me is that Jesus Christ himself, no matter how demanding he was in one of his texts, was also remarkably tolerant and averse from any kind of sensation if he discovered something bad. Let me remind you of something that you may be inclined to forget all the time. The 12 apostles were chosen by Jesus himself, the Son of God. They were chosen after deep prayer and long deliberation. They were trained and formed by the best teacher in the world. And yet, in spite of all that, from the beginning, there was already one bad egg in the basket, Judas. And Jesus knew it. And he tolerated him in his company because he believed that as long as a man lives, he has a chance to turn from a crook into a saint. Like Mary Magdalene did, who was a prostitute. Like the criminal on the cross did, who had been a thief. Like St. Augustine did, who lived with a girlfriend for 20 Peter, you love me? Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. And Jesus knew. And without any hesitation, and without any spectacle, he took him back into the flock and made him our first hope. Feed my lambs, feed my sheep. And Peter gave his life for Christ in the end. The events are, of course, forms of misbehavior amongst priests, like the one we have heard about recently, which cannot be tolerated and should be punished very severely, and we should try to prevent this kind of things in the future as much as we can. But let us be realistic. We, you and I, are a church of sinners. I'm not talking about the Ten Commandments. As far as that is concerned, I have nothing to confess to you, if you are curious to hear it. I'm talking about that much more that Jesus Christ commanded. 10 commandments are the minimum. Now, tightening our discipline will not be enough to exterminate sin completely. And it is silly to expect that in future, after the right selections are made, all priests will be changed and turned into angels straight after their ordination. What they need in the first place is your prayer. And what they need even more perhaps is your own good example. Don't tire them with your own lack of zeal. Don't tempt them by your own immodest behavior. Don't lead them into sin by your own lack of faith, but pray for them and set them a good example. I recently read the statistics of another country where many of these priests, well, many, but anyway, like 73 or so, 2%, were caught at being sexually going beyond fear, so to say. I read the statistics of that country. Almost half of the marriages there end up in divorce, also amongst Catholics. Many young men and women do not even bother anymore to get married in church or in the registry for that matter. They just live together. There are millions of one-parent families where the children grow up without a father or a mother. Premarital sex is common, even amongst teenagers. And so are abortions, millions and millions of them. The virtue of chastity is laughed at. Pornography in all its forms, even child pornography, is a common thing there among many people. Not to speak about other vices like drug abuse and violence and robbery. Well, is it surprising that in that same country there have also been priests who began to go in the wrong direction? As somebody once said, in the long run, every society gets the leaders it deserves.